Welcome to the Dean Blechman Show, live from Long Island. Free-flowing talk with a charismatic, down-to-earth host. Join Dean as he interviews and chats freely with his guests, ranging from superstar athletes to politicians, industry titans, and everyday folk with fascinating life stories. Dean educates, entertains, and most of all, touches people's lives. You're listening to the Dean Blechman Show, live from Long Island.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dean Blechman Show. This is your host, Dean. We are very fortunate to have on our show today a real stand-up comedian. Robert Altmann has appeared at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York as his exuberant character, Robo. Among many other venues, he does professional voiceovers and is an inspirational public speaker. His podcast called The After Party Web are among many of the other vocations he does on a regular basis. The awesome voiceover of the introduction of this show, The Dean Blechman Show, is our esteemed guest and my dear friend, Rob Altmann. Welcome to The Dean Blechman Show.
Hello, Dean, and I am very, very excited to be here. This is quite a treat for me.
Rob, what's unbelievable is professional voiceovers, public speaking, narration and character voices, acting, comedy, radio, TV spokesperson, speaker, presenter, instructor, promotional events. Rob Altmann, is there anything you don't do?
But wait, there's more. Yeah, it kind of all spills out, doesn't it?
It's really incredible. That we've had an opportunity to, we met a couple of months ago and had a chance to interact, and it's just amazing that here we are in Setauket on the Dean Blechman Show, and I'd like to just get into, once again, like I do with all my guests, and especially myself growing up on the South Shore of Long Island. I know you have roots here.
Yep.
Just a little bit about your upbringing and your family.
Terrific. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Hauppauge, Long Island, dead center of the island. Graduated from Hauppauge High School, Hauppauge Eagle. And mom and dad moved to St. James after we sold the family house. Got one older brother and two older sisters. My older brother, Eddie. Eddie is 7 years older than I am. And then I have a sister, Sharon, who's 4 years older than I am, and a sister, Sandy, who's 2 years older than I am. So I was the baby of the family. I know somebody else who's the baby of the family. So obviously we have a lot in common right out of the gate.
We definitely have a lot in common. How did it feel growing up as the baby?
That's a good question. I loved it. I mean, I was babied, but I wasn't, if you know what that means. Being the fourth child, I think when they get to the fourth child, it's more like when I fell down, it was like, you blow it off and go back outside and play. It wasn't like, oh my God, are you hurt? By the time they get to the fourth kid, it's like, you'll be fine. You didn't break a bone. Go back out there. It's like, it gave me a tough skin,
Rob, before we continue, let me introduce you to some people. Anthony here.
Yes.
Senior correspondent, handles all the technical and sound back of the show. Anthony, say hello to Rob.
What's up, Rob? Good to see you again.
Anthony, the man, the myth, the legend. I take my hat off to you because I can't do any of the things that you do. with my long list on that intro, there you go, Dean. I don't do what Anthony does.
Let's go now across the Atlantic to another special person that's part of the show, the legendary Rhea Bow. Rhea, good morning. How are you? I should say good afternoon to you.
Pardon?
Good afternoon, Rhea.
Oh, good afternoon or good morning to you. Hi, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
Rhea, my pleasure. Good to hear you.
It's good to hear you too. On fine form, I think.
I love it.
Rob, why don't we talk a little bit about the very beginnings of your career? I mean, so much is there that I said in the beginning.
Sure.
I mean, how and when did it all get started in the very beginning doing voiceovers?
Voiceovers was something I never knew what a voiceover was, obviously. And I think throughout my high school years, I was actually just sitting in the back of a car and joking around with some friends. And I love cartoons. I always have as a child. I grew up on all the great cartoons. I think they don't make them like that anymore, the wacky races. And Popeye was one of my favorite cartoons. And I'm sitting in the back of 1969 Ford Galaxy 500. And I just happened to go,
Oh, I'm Popeye the Sailor. Wow.
and a friend of mine says, that sounds pretty close to what Popeye sounds like. I said, yeah, I could, pretty much if I listen to it enough, I could mimic what I hear. So that kind of evolved and tried to do some other voices as, just joking around my friends. And I looked into it. Somebody said, you should look into voiceovers. What is a voiceover? Well, and then, you go into the city, and I looked into taking some classes, and totally different dynamic than what I thought. But I guess it's some of the natural born talent that I had to be able to mimic what I hear and get into character, of course, which is a main component of it. I was always a character, growing up through school. I was always goofing around and being a character. And I think that's really what the birth of me getting into voiceover was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just a joke.
Going back to your family, is there anyone else in the family that's very funny like you?
I think, yeah, my whole family is funny, but I pretty much can give kudos to my uncle, my mom's brother, my Uncle Bobby, who's my godfather. I kind of followed in his footsteps as being the joke man. He was always, he was a bartender and a bar owner for many, many years. And you want to have somebody come on your show? I got your next guest.
I would love to have him on the show.
He is awesome. Very charismatic, and I kind of really took after him and became the joke teller and, the funny guy. So, really, my Uncle Bobby is probably as close as you can get.
Yeah, Anthony's got an uncle. He's got an uncle that he wants me to have on the show. That's a character too.
Yeah. There's one in every family, isn't there?
Yeah,
Except I spoke to Anthony's uncle for about 10 minutes. I think we're going to have to edit 90% of this.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah. Falls in suit with my uncle, Yeah, you're going to have to edit a little bit, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, listen, people who live an exciting life and really take everything that life has to offer and make the best of it. And we go to extremes, as creatives. And that's what I think, these people are there and that come into our lives. And what we follow after is that creative element, and that's what gives life, the zest, looking for the creative.
Wow. How about the comedy circuit? I love this Rob Altmann as this Robo, R-O-B-O, Robo character. Tell the audience, tell us a little bit about that, the Robo character.
Yeah, Robo. It started off as a kid, I was called, Boo Boo and Bobo, and I realized very quickly that Bobo, I think, meant stupid in Spanish. So that didn't work. And then my friends were like, Robbo, and it became hey, Robo, and Robo stuck. And as I went on stage and I started doing some early, Carolines and the Gotham and things like that and getting into the comedy circuit, it stuck with me that, Robo Altmann, Robo went, it was just great. It became my character. I got into the Robo character.
So if anybody wants to listen to some of those Robo characters, why don't you tell the audience where they've got to go to?
You could go. Excellent. Thank you so much. I love the show already. I get plugs. It's good. It's good. Robert Altmann with ALTMANN. RobertAltmann.com is my voiceover website, and all of my voices are on there. My character voices, my narrations, some of the comedy shows and clips that we've done. So it's kind of a culmination of the entertainment part of what I do.
Well, what we're gonna do is this is gonna be the first of many shows that you're on the Dean Blechman show. That this is more gonna be about a conversation about Robert Altmann.
I love it.
That I think the future shows are gonna be a lot focused on just bantering and some great comedy.
Yeah, all right, I'm in.
And there's a guy that's part of the act of this show that writes pre-show and post-show summaries. His name is Scott Morrell, and I know he's listening, Scott, out there, that he wants to be a part of those shows.
Fantastic.
So, how about the area of motivational workshops that you participate in?
Yeah, when it comes to the motivational piece, I early on, I was, again, working the comedy circuit, and I realized early on that, I can't live in my car. I take my hat off to the comedians of today and the guys that work now with me on my shows. I host a lot of the shows now, and I feature and headline other guys. But these guys really, they pay the price. When you're going to work the comedy circuit, you're not making money. A lot of time, most times, they what's called a bringer show. So they'll give you stage time, but you have to bring 5, 6, 7. The more people you bring, the more stage time you get. So that's how these up and coming comedians get stage time. It's about making money for the club. It's really a business, So, early on, I was fortunate. I've been blessed with friends and family that support me throughout my, my growing career in the entertainment industry. And I was able to bring 10, 15, 20 people to a Caroline's, and get 15, 20 minutes on stage because I had such a following. So, that being said, you really I take my hat off to the comedians that are struggling and you make it big and it's great, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And listen, if you're committed to it, you're committed to it. I wanted to do it, but I also wanted to make some money. So I got involved with, corporate America. I got a job and I did it on the side. So you could do that as well, but to really hit the big time, you get in it both feet, jump in the water. You got to take that jump. So I got involved with corporate and I became a sales trainer pretty much very quickly. I was always great at sales and became a sales trainer. And I was always listening to motivational tapes. Loved the Anthony Robbins and things like that. And motivational speaking to me just became listening to motivational speakers was the way I lived my life. It wasn't like they had to teach me that. So I'm looking and listening to a motivational speaker saying, that's the way I think. It's not something I have to learn. This is something I could share because I think the same way. I've always been an optimist. And, Dean, I get it from you. I feel the vibe. When we first met, I felt it, very positive. Always looking for, the good side. The glass is always half full. And I think that's somewhat born in us to a certain extent.
I'm riding a high every day. For years, my platform would be... I know Scott Morrell doesn't like it that I keep pushing Starbucks, and Mr. Schultz will probably give me a call one day. Maybe he'll give me a job. But I sit in Starbucks in the morning and I talk to people constantly that want to speak to me.
Sure.
That this just gives me a platform to be able to speak to people all around the world and do what I love doing.
Do what you do. Exactly.
So, when you talk about having an opportunity to play at a place like Caroline's in New York.
Sure.
I mean, that is, that's a flagship. You've kind of made it when you make it there. What was that experience when you played at Caroline's? It's
a little overwhelming, but everybody, the comedians that work those shows are just so supportive. You meet all kinds of personalities, but they back you up. They know when you get out in front of that crowd, and the light goes on, it's a whole different ball game. People always say, "Oh, I should be a comedian. I could be funny." And there's funny when we're at the dinner table and, when we're hanging out with our friends at the bar or whatever, wherever we are. And then there's funny on stage, which is a whole different ball game, So they know it's something that's structured and you got to be able to go out on a tangent and come back to a format or some bullet points and keep it, somewhat congruent. So, when I did Caroline's, a couple different shows at Caroline's, and I was fortunate because the comedians that were there were giving me support, saying, "Hey, Rob, you know what? You're going to kill it out there. Just go out there, be yourself, take a deep breath." Jay Leno always told comedians, when you think you're going too slow, slow down. Really embrace it. Don't rush through your material and things. And I was actually at Caroline's one night, and Chris Rock walks in, and he was just, practicing for one of his HBO specials. And he went up and I said, please, let me go on after Chris. Cause I'm making all these mental notes, how I could tie into it. And they're like, no, we'll let one of the other guys go. We want to balance the show. And he was just awesome, in the green room, giving people shaking your hand, giving you a hug, really telling you, go for it, stay with it. Very, 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 very supportive of people, that are coming up in the ranks.
So who are in the past, your legends in comedy? Who 1, 2, and 3? Who are your favorites?
Jim Carrey. I don't even have to worry
Wow.
about that one. Jim Carrey to me is an absolute genius. Robin Williams, God rest his soul. He was unbelievable, and I love improv. So I love guys who just go out there and can just really get lost with it because, I have ADD, OCD, EFG. I got all of that. So I get it, when you start going off the deep end a little bit and you got to reel yourself back in. I think these guys really, they set the bench for me, the benchmark. And of course, your stand-up comedy guys that of history, Red Fox was unbelievable. If you want to go, it depends on how far you want to go back.
You mentioned one name in particular that I had an opportunity to meet about 12 years ago. My dear friend, who's going to be a guest on the show, the great baseball player Barry Bonds. It was a big thing back then to people out in California to have birthday parties at bowling alleys. That was a big thing to do. And Barry had his a surprise birthday party for his 40th party out in LA at a bowling alley. And sitting at my table at this bowling alley was someone that, if you asked me who is my favorite comedians of all time, one of them, and very few that would be mentioned, would be Robin Williams.
Okay.
And my wife Sharon and I had an evening to be able to have dinner with Robin Williams. And after that dinner, he was, even besides his humor, just even a greater person after meeting him. What a great guy. What a tragedy to pass away so young.
Yeah, we lost one of the great ones. Really, he was instrumental in me looking at comedy as a character, not just doing jokes. You guys can get up there and tell jokes and stand up punchline kind of stuff, but really getting into character, and that's where the Robo character really worked for me. I got into character and be able to just slip into that zone, put you on a different level.
So Rob, let's move over.
Yeah.
Good kid or bad kid in school, and be honest with me, because I've got great resources to call all your teachers. So come
Mom,
on.
are you listening, Mom? Was my mom listening?
Good or bad kid growing up?
I think I was a good kid. I don't think my teachers agreed, but I would say bad, but not bad. You follow me? I was bad, but I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't the kid like breaking stuff or beating people up. I was the kid who didn't pay attention. All of my report cards said the same thing at the end in the comments. Doesn't pay attention, doesn't apply himself, busy making other kids laugh. I was the guy, oh, that's funny, making noises, distracting the class. And I had the voice, believe it or not. My voice has always been somewhat, bassy. So if the teacher walked out, remember the days where the teacher would walk out of the classroom and leave for a little bit? I don't know what they did, but they always used to walk out once in a while. They'd come back in and I'd get the finger, Robert Altmann to the principal's office. Why me? I heard your voice, so it was always, why me? What did I do? So I would say good, but bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I'm looking over here at Anthony. He doesn't stop laughing.
Yeah, because he knows what I'm talking about.
We've had some very serious shows here so far here in the studio, and we've had a couple of good laughs. But he's ready for you here, and I see him just biting by the bits. He's chuckling. I know his jaw always leaves here in a lot of pain because he laughs from Sharon and I so much that goes on between us. But let's laugh a little bit. One of your shticks that I see that you do is this whole area, and it's big today, is this whole internet dating area, and you've got some great acts,
some good
with
bits.
Internet dating that you gotta give the audience a little bit of that act today.
Well, here's the deal. When it comes to internet dating, I never have, again, enough patience to really go through and put my profile up and do all this stuff. So you had mentioned in the intro that we were doing a podcast early on called The After Party. And that came up. Everybody that was involved with the podcast was either married, engaged or had a long-time relationship. And me, I was the only guy that was the single guy, living out in Long Beach. They think I'm living, the life of Riley out there. But why didn't I settle down? And I said, well, I can't get through the internet dating thing. So they went and said, we're going to put you on each one of the dating sites and help you write the profile and see what happens. So I went through it, and it's crazy. I mean, so many people just don't tell the truth about, their profile. It's almost like, and I know I'm probably going to get killed on this from all my friends in real estate, but when you see a real estate person's business card, or you see them on the side of a bus and they have their high school picture, and then when you meet them, they're like 75. Right? It's like, do they ever really take the real picture of what they look like? I get it. We all want to be young. I get it. You don't want to get old. But, when I walk into a Starbucks and I meet somebody, and it's like, I say in one of my bits that, I like older women. I just don't like old women. It's, you walk in, hey, there he is. Nice to see you. Such a handsome little devil. Okay, your picture's really not telling the whole story there. So I was always very leery about the internet dating scene. You got to be really careful, and people know what I'm talking about out there. Because I always say I'll be 52 this year, but on Facebook I'm 49, and then on Tinder I'm 38. Right, so it just gets better and better because I could just be as old as I want to be. I'm always pushing it, So what are the
let's go across. Let's bring Ria into this conversation. Ria, come on in.
Hi guys. I mean, the dating thing, Rob, sounds so real. I get it. It's comical by a good 20 years, maybe. The photo's got to be 20 years old or something like that. I get it. Anyway, on to a question. When you are doing your stand-up,
yes,
where do you get the material from? How do you source current material?
Usually it'll be something that if I think of something funny, I have to either write it down right away, because as we get older, if the thought goes in one ear and before you know it, 10 minutes later, I forgot where I was. So I have to write it down. It's real life circumstances. And then, as most storyteller comedians, I'm more of a storyteller when it comes to my comedy. I talk about, where I live and my friends and things like that. It's got to be based on what I go through, in my life. So that's where I really get my bullet points, and I formulate some of my comedy bits, is stuff that I've been through and that I'm going through currently.
So you work off bulletins, or is it scripted, or is it a bit of both, or?
It's a little bit of both. I'll script if a funny thought comes into my head, and it's usually when I sit, lay down at night and I'm getting nice and comfortable and I'm ready to fall asleep. Something funny pops into my head, and I got to jump out of the bed and go into my office and write it down, or it's never going to happen. You wake up the next day going, "What was that funny thing I said?"
Rob, we have smartphones now. You don't have to get out of bed. You could type it in your phone.
You see how everybody needs an Anthony.
You know what? Anthony's expertise is usually music. We had the other day, we had the legendary Bakiti Kumalo, who's for 30 years,
bass.
He's been the legendary bassist for Paul Simon and his band.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Anthony has a love for music, and it looks like he's now got a love for comedy. So it's all yours, Anthony.
There you go. Listen,
everybody needs an Anthony. If you're an Anthony listening, you got to have an Anthony in the family.
Oh, trust me, I've got an Anthony, and I've got to laugh every day with Anthony.
Hey, listen, he's the glue. He's the glue. I get it.
Oh, trust me, he's the glue.
I'm still writing stuff on paper. Right, Ant? You're like, come on now, step it up.
It's 2016, man.
I hear it.
Let's go back to Ria. Ria, it's all yours.
Okay, and on the podcast that you do, Rob, and it's called the After Party. Is that right?
Yeah, we're not currently running it. We actually started it. We did it about almost 10 years ago now, before podcasts was even known. It was just, it was just starting in its infancy. And we went for it. It was just a bunch of us sitting around like we are really in the studio here today, and kind of bantering about, some topics and things like that. And it was nice that you could download it and listen to it at your leisure. and it kind of went away, and we stopped doing the shows, and it went away, and then here we are back again. Everybody wants to listen to shows, whenever they can. So the Dean Blechman show, just kind of picking up where other people stop, and I love it. I'm back.
Rob, I know this isn't improv in New York City, but what do you think of the Dean Blechman Show studio in Setauket, Long Island? Huh?
Again, amazing because I saw it come together so quickly. And I know you put hours into this, and planning is more than its job. You wear 10 hats, not one, and really, really impressed by the setup and the hard work that went into it and the quality of the show. Really, really, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rob. Rhea, other questions?
I was thinking if because it was called After Party, Rob's podcast, because I didn't know it was those many years ago.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, are there drinkies? Is this an after party?
Yeah, we actually did drink in the studio. We had cocktails. It was the party. The best part of a party is after the party, right? And all the the regular people go home, and then all the cool people stay. So we did. We had some wine, and we had some alcohol, some cocktails, and it was just a free flowing show that we had to edit a lot.
It's amazing how
we needed an Anthony.
Rob, it's amazing how you talk about how the after party is so important,
Yeah.
I mean, my son's wedding back in June, it was the, got to have an after party.
Yeah.
We were just in New Jersey, my family, for my niece's wedding. Got to have an after party.
Yes.
At 3 a.m.
Exactly.
I was eating pizza at the after party. I felt it in the morning.
If you were the cool guy at the bar, I bartended for almost 20 years, and when you were the cool guy at the bar, you didn't have to go home when everybody else went home. We'd always say, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, right? And they would funnel everybody out. Listen, Dean, Anthony, you guys stay. And we'd lock the door, whatever, and you guys got to have a couple extra drinks, and you were the after party. You were the important people.
We keep getting on a roll with after party and wedding, talking about weddings while it's fresh in my mind. This niece of mine that got married, I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm sitting with her future father-in-law in a couple of hours. He's going to be the Makatonom, the father-in-law. And all of a sudden he says, Dean, wow. I just forgot my tuck shirt. He had to be at Pictures in 2 hours. He had to haul his butt down to Marlborough, New Jersey.
Oh, no way.
From Fairfield, New Jersey. Get himself down to Marlborough. He took a Schwitz turn. He was sweating when he got back. He made pictures in 10 minutes. So he was way ahead of the after party.
Right. It comes to mind. I had a very funny wedding story that happened. I was my sister's first husband. I don't even think they were married at this point. We were going to a wedding, and I was going to drive, and he was going to go with me. And everybody gets in the cars, and they take off. And he had, I think he had cataracts because he had this medical marijuana that he had to use. You follow me, right, on this? So we get in the car. That doesn't have to be edited, does it? We get in the car, and we're in our fog, and I go, all right. So where's the church? So he goes, what are you talking about? Don't even mess with me. You don't know where? I said, no. I didn't go to the rehearsal. He goes, I don't know where the church is. I said, I know it's somewhere in Centereach. He's like, Centereach. So I said, I know it's off, I think, 25A or Middle Country Road. And I had an idea where it was. So long story short, we went down the road and we made every left-hand turn until we hit the church. And we roll up to the church, and they're already heading, and we're in the wedding party. That was the funny part. We're in the wedding party. So he's sweating bullets. Your sister's going to kill me. I'm like, don't sweat it. I got it. I'm going to handle it. Just follow my lead and everything will be fine. He's like, what are you talking about? So we go running up the stairs, and there they go down the aisle, and we get to the last two girls. We're out of order because, as you know, you have to be in order. And he's sweating, and I said, I got this. It's good. So they're looking at us like, what happened? And we get into we sit down, and I said, they forgot my ruffles. The tuxedo place, they screwed up. They forgot we had to go back. We're going to call there. And it just came to me. I was like, what are we going to say? They forgot the tuxedo place. They messed it up.
So much pressure on black tie or casual.
So much pressure.
So much pressure.
Oh my goodness, it was fun. We wound up having a great wedding.
You know, I know that you have a passion for what's taking place in Long Beach, Long Island. The Oasis. Why don't you share with everyone the Oasis?
The Oasis. It starts out when I was a kid, growing up in Hauppauge, Long Island. My mom, in the hallway, had a plastic palm tree at the end of the hallway where our bedrooms were. And I realized if I took that, I used to love to go to the beach. I always loved the beach. And if I took the palm tree to the beach and I planted it in the sand where my blanket was, girls came over. Oh, that's so cute. Ding, 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 ding. What do we got from Johnny? Right? It was like, that was the winning move. So I kept bringing my palm tree to the beach. And then I moved to Long Beach, right? And I'm in Long Beach now, almost on my 30th year there. I went for a party and I never went home. And we started adding some palm trees to the beach when we went to the beach. And all of a sudden, a good friend of mine, Alex Giampetro, who now lives in Florida, he said, we got to ramp this up, man. This idea is great. So he went out and he got a bunch of more palm trees. And then we got an indoor-outdoor carpet and we cut it out in the kidney bean shape. And we put an easy-up tent with some satin flows on it.
Wow.
And the Oasis was formed.
Unbelievable.
So my friends would all come down, and every Saturday and Sunday we would set this up, and we made a wagon to carry everything. We had, at its peak, we had 20 chairs, 15 to 20 trees, palm trees, shrubs, the indoor-outdoor carpeting. We had a cooler that had a marine battery on it, so we could make pina coladas. We had actually had electric out there, and you want to see people's heads turn when you start doing this guy breaking up. Do I hear a blender? You gotta be kidding me. So friends started coming down around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and joining in. And my friends were musicians. Anthony, you know where this goes. They'd bring down their acoustic guitars, and another buddy of mine, Petey Keys, had his Casio keyboard. And we'd sing some, Eagles and some Marshall Tucker and some cool stuff. And it became an Oasis event.
Wow.
Where it was just unbelievable. And somebody saw us from the New York Post, came over.
Yeah, there's been tremendous press in the media.
Yeah, the Post wrote us up and the Newsday wrote us up. Long Beach's biggest beach bums. And the Oasis just, over the years, just grew and grew and grew.
Rhea, what do you think of that? The Oasis story, what Rob's done over in Long Beach, Long Island. Not too far from where I grew up on Freeport, the South Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to go if it was still going. I'd be there.
Yeah, we set up big and small oases. If it's just a couple of us, we'll put a tree. I always bring a tree. I will not go to the beach without a palm tree. So, when you walk up and the girl's at the security gate, she goes, "Oh, the palm tree guys." Yeah, so it's good.
Anthony, what do you think of Oasis?
I think it's great. Brilliant idea. That's one of my favorite, leaving Long Island and going to California or Florida. That's one of my favorite things. You leave the airport as you're pulling out and you see the palm trees. And right away you have that, I tie that to that feeling of being on vacation.
Sure.
So
that's exactly what they say to us too. The two questions we get, Anthony, is, are those real? Of course, they're plastic palm trees, and I always answer back, "Yeah, we just happen to sit in the right spot, or I planted this last year. It really has taken off. Is that real, or what's going on here? Why do you do this?" And it's obvious, Anthony, to your point, it's the ambiance of being on vacation, that tropical feeling, and people embrace it. They love it. They really do.
If the poles keep shifting the way they are, we may start growing palm trees here on Long Island in the next decade or so.
Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. It's got to the point where people ask me, can I do other setups for people? And, with my new business, Third Wave Events, we've actually considered setting up for parties and stuff for people doing an Oasis, because people really do love it. It's such a great surrounding when you have some trees and some shrubs. It just gives it a whole different feeling.
Rob, you mentioned Third Wave Events. Why don't you go into that a little bit, what Third Wave Events is?
Third Wave is a culmination of, again, being a sales trainer in corporate and then having my stand-up comedy and my voiceovers come together, Really, January 1st of this year, I took the plunge and I jumped off a corporate American bandwagon. Right, I got off the wheel, and I formed my own company, thirdwaveevents.com. And we look at it as 3 waves of services. We motivate, we educate, and we captivate. And that's really the combination of my sales training and my entertainment. So the first wave is we motivate you. We have motivational speakers. I do President's Clubs as the MC. I'll be emceeing at Brooklyn Fashion Week in October 1st through the 8th. A little shameless plug. And we'll host any event that you have if you want a public speaker or somebody to really take the reins. And then second wave is when we educate. That's the motivational sales training. And again, it's interactive. And then the captivate is we handle, obviously I host comedy shows. We now do game shows, which is real exciting. And the fashion shows, which I'm involved in, again, with Fashion Week. So the big wave, if you go to thirdwaveevents.com, is a combination of everything. I go after corporate America, and I want companies to have us come in. We'll motivate your team. We'll educate them on sales products and training that they need. And then, wait for it, we test their knowledge in a game show.
Wow.
So, and as I went through my 25 years of sales training, I realized, as a sales trainer, most sales trainings are boring. So, working in some fun comedic stuff and role plays and being interactive worked. And then when I started testing the waters, it's not about me anymore. It's about you. Let's make it a game show. They had fun.
Wow.
And they get it.
Wow.
They really, because you could ask anybody what your favorite line in a book is, unless you're really a bookie, not a bookie. You're into novels. They can't really repeat anything they've read, but what's your favorite movie line? Just like that, they'll spit out their favorite movie line. So if it's entertaining and it's fun, they retain it.
Wow.
And they learn. And it's gone since January. It's just, it's taken off. So I'm excited about it.
Sounds very exciting. thirdwaveevents.com. If anyone wants to go to it, great stuff. A lot of things that we do here on the show.
Yeah.
We educate, we inspire, and
you motivate.
And we motivate, and obviously we like to have some humor, little laughs.
You're captivating. I'll give you that, Dean.
You mentioned lines. What's your favorite comedy line to date?
Ooh, favorite comedy line.
Number 1 or number 2?
Number 1 or number 2? Let me think, because it's always probably something. Again, Jim Carrey being one of my favorite comedians. Something out of Liar Liar.
Wow, he did some funny movies.
Yeah, I just thought that was so the way because he improvised almost throughout that. If you ever look up the background of that movie, he did a lot. He had no script. He had a script, but he was giving the liberty to completely go off script whenever he wanted to. So at the end when he's in the court, and he's just dancing around, I object and I move to strike. Why? It's devastating to my case. To me, that's just a funny clip. I have a lot of friends who are lawyers, so I get it,
Yeah, sometimes those lawyers could be difficult, challenging.
He just answers himself,
to make them laugh. They're a good target in audience.
But there's so many great lines out there. It's fantastic.
My favorite comedian of all time that I used to really enjoy his type of humor was Don Rickles.
Oh, yeah.
I loved Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tell you, they're legends. They really are. They're legends. What about you, Anthony? What was your favorite comedian? I'm sure
George Carlin.
George Carlin. It's funny because a lot of the guys that I work with, the headliner guys that are really, they're in bed. That's what they do. They eat, breathe, sleep, comedy. They're comedians. They're true comedians. George Carlin's like one of the number one with all of them. Just he was brilliant. He was just so brilliant in his train of thought.
And he speaks the truth in his comedy. That's why I love it, because the things he says are very real and true.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the storytellers. Again, those are the storytellers, which I find to be the best kind of comedy that's out there. Somebody, when the Eddie Murphys came up through, they were talking about when they were kids, and, go get some fire. We're going to make a fire. It was what he grew up with. And that's just pure comedy because it's true.
When I look over my lifetime, especially when it comes to film, comedy as a genre, when you really look at who's been successful in the area of comedy. There's very few. Very,
True.
very difficult to be good at comedy in a film.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, again, comedians are used to just going out there telling their life story and not being scripted. They script their own, but to follow the lines. And again, that, Dean, to your point, very difficult to do, and to spin it. And the guys that can, amazing.
Rhea, how about going over to you? Do you have any favorite comedians?
Well, I don't really have favorite Well, I do. I like Richard Pryor's.
Nice.
Wow, Richard Pryor. Wow, he
Yeah,
was great.
but-
Yeah.
That's a great one.
What makes me laugh is Monty Python, The Life of Brian.
Great. Of course,
that's-
of course, you would say that.
Of course I
I love it.
And I do. I absolutely love it. It's the number one thing for me. And an English comedian called Peter Kay.
Yeah, Peter Kay.
You wouldn't have heard of, well, obviously you have heard of him, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't know of him, let's say.
Right.
But yeah, Life of Brian for me, guys.
Life
Follow
of
the
Brian.
shoe and all that kind of thing.
Have another slice. This way for
Rhea, are there any like Carolines that we have here in New York, like Improv and some of the hot clubs we have? Are there any right there in Europe or in the UK?
Well, there will be, but you have to understand that American humour is quite different to English humour. And we have the Edinburgh Fringe. You know the Edinburgh Fringe?
What's that?
Excellent.
I have no idea what that is, Rhea.
It is an entire comedy show where people come from all over. You know, it's a global thing, but they meet in Edinburgh to do their thing, you know, and they book their tickets and you go in. And the humour, let's just say you don't get very many Americans there.
Oh wow! And it's
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you don't get it, do you? So,
that one went right over my head.
right, yeah, and you don't get any. Well, you probably get some, but it's not really an American thing.
It's not an American thing,
Our comedy is
No,
too stupid,
yeah.
probably.
right?
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
Well, what's unique, Rob, about this show that I haven't found another show like this is what's unique about it is how we've brought two different cultures
yeah,
to cross like this together. Rhea and myself. I mean, she thinks I'm whacked at times. You know?
Well, there's some truth in that.
no comment. I kind of like it.
But that
I
we're
can present some evidence.
that we're able to bring our two personalities and our cultures from the UK over here to Setauket, Long Island.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic, and she's got the jump on us because she's ahead of us, right?
Definitely.
In many ways. Good for you, Rhea.
Rhea, we're
I don't know
gonna.
about that, but yeah, certainly I'm 5 hours ahead in terms of humour. Oh yeah, culturally it is really different.
No, you
Wow,
know, she-
that was a jab.
She's right because I watch funny stuff on YouTube all the time, and a lot of stuff that I think is funny. My girlfriend's from Russia, and she doesn't even laugh. She's like, "That's not funny at all." You know, I'm like, "How do you not laugh at that?" You know, but I think it's
Exactly.
the difference in the European and American culture. You know,
Right.
We laugh at stupid things, and they just think we're dumb.
Anthony could be a funny guy at times.
Yeah.
He's got some good material at times.
I like it.
You know?
I got a show coming up. I'll put you up front.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Rhea, it's time for us to, at this point of the show, to go over to you. Unless you have some other questions for Rob, you can get into the other parts of the show.
Well, I don't know if it's a question; it's more an observation. Rob, do you think in cartoons?
Yes.
I thought so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think in pictures, and I do think in cartoons. I worked with an animator here in New York who's just an amazing guy, and he put together a cartoon, and that's what he said. He said, I need you to take... we got to a character... it was called the Galaxy Gang, and he said, I want you to think in cartoons and put these two cartoons together. He brought voices out of me that I didn't even know I had. It was really, really amazing. And a cartoon he worked on another cartoon was called Zoombug. And I'll give you an example. He said, I need you to take Howard Cosell, okay, and I need you to take a bumblebee and put them together. And
Zoombug here to wow you with my ear-tingling play-by-play.
and it was just Howard Cosell as a bee. And I didn't even know I had that. So, it was me thinking of Howard Cosell flying around as B. So to your point, Rhea, absolutely thinking pictures and thinking cartoons.
Yeah, I thought so. As I listened to you speak and stuff, when you watch a Walt Disney film and you've got some birds on a telephone line talking to each other. As I listen to you speak, I just sort of see a correlation between you and Walt Disney.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I had a bit like that. I can't remember what it was though. It was two birds talking on a wire. That's great. Listen, we gotta email me some material.
You said Cosell. You got to do one or two other imitations of some people that are classic.
Of course, my favorite is the God Rest His Soul, is Mr. Anthony Tony Soprano. I don't know if you heard, but he used to sing pop songs called "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me." Don't you?
So, as one of my bits was, the Dean's point. One of my bits was, just doing rock stars. Rock stars, and Anthony, doing the rock star thing is so great. We had I would do a bit about Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. How before he became the lead singer of Pearl Jam, he worked in the Dunkin' Donuts, and he'd say, "You want 3 glazed, the box of jelly donuts on a bagel made with cream cheese." Oh yeah, So you get to be a rock star and a comedian at the same time.
Anthony's got foam coming out of his mouth right now.
Because of the donuts. Right?
Because of the donuts. We had great muffins here this morning, too. Dean Blechman show. It never ceases to amaze me. Everything's awesome, even the muffin.
Every guest that comes through here tells me that, listen, we've had guests that have been on CNBC, Bloomberg, and they say you barely get water when you're over there. That
I got a delicious cup of coffee.
When you come here, my lovely wife, Sharon, there's no question about it. You're taken well care of. Yes. With some good food.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Never starve hanging out with this guy.
Yeah. Good food's important, for any kind of, a lot of times the comedy shows that I host now, enough about me, let's talk about me. The comedy shows, we do dinner and a show. So you come, and this, actually September 24th, I'm doing a show in Long Beach, my hometown, which I'm very excited about. I got some local talent. I got some other guys that are amazing. And it's dinner and a show. So you come out, you have dinner, and you see a good show. And we usually do it. We raise money in a fundraiser as well. We'll have a good cause involved. We're going to raise some money for MS at this show. And it's always good to have some food, and that just kind of puts you in a good place, right? It's always a good cup of coffee, some food. And Dean Blechman, I walk in, first thing, can't get your cup of coffee. You got to try this delicious muffin. And I was like, this is awesome. So
come on, you must have some classic restaurant or food stories and jokes or laughs that have taken place. That goes on in restaurants. Come on.
Yeah.
Tell us one.
It's funny. When you work comedy in a restaurant, we do pick on the restaurant a little bit, but you got to be real careful because you're really, you're on that cutting edge where they're like, all right, don't get too crazy. But we always use the one story, and it was a friend of mine who was a waiter, and it happened to him. He said he brought a steak over, and the woman says to him, "Excuse me, but your thumb is on my steak. It's touching my steak." And he said, "Do you want it to fall on the floor again?" And she didn't think that was funny at all. And usually I'll look up and I'll see one of the restaurant owners giving me the, no, don't go that way. Don't go that route.
Funny.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. How about we've got really a classic presidential campaign that's going on this year. Wow. Come on. You must have a great Donald J. Trump.
I was thinking that before.
Come on, you must have.
It's only the hand motions.
You must have your own.
I have a good face for radio. I just think he's a character. The Trump character is a character. I mean, the whole thing with the finger, going up, and I've seen some great Trump impersonators. And the fact that they're making naked statues of Donald Trump all over the place. It's like, listen, if you can't laugh, you're gonna cry, right? Because it's that race is just like you don't know which way to go. So, being that it's not a joke. Obviously, the political race is not a joke, but I like some of the characters. I'm waiting for SNL just to go completely off the hook with this. I don't know. They're like holding back on the reins, but right, Ant? You feel that coming.
Yeah, I mean,
Bush, they go after everybody.
I think the whole thing I think it is comical. This year they've made it comical. I mean, if we think about what's at stake, it's really not funny. But these two are just they've made it funny.
They've made it comical. They really have. So I don't want to say which way. I think which way I would go with that race. But again, I love the comedy. I love the comedy.
Let's go back over to Rhea. Rhea, it's all yours.
Okay, I think the US politics is a gift that just keeps giving, Rob. That's my take on it. Okay.
You're going to send me some material, Rhea? Come on. I know you got it. I could hear you thinking.
She's been extremely conservative, Rob,
really?
On this show.
Okay.
I thought I'd hear a little bit more humor from Rhea.
I think our humor really differs, and I would take it back
She's warming up now.
I love it.
She's warming up. Rhea's warming up.
Yeah, you have to be sharp to get on that level. She's sharp. She's sharp as a tack. I love it.
She thinks you should us guys from the Northeast. She's of the United States. She's really getting to know us these last couple of months.
It's terrific. I need some smart comedy, Rhea. You got to send me some good material, some good smart material, because I'm doing the silly stuff.
Yeah, I like the silly stuff, but I think I need to see you to see the silly stuff there, because I'm sure you have a face for TV, right?
I love it. I do, actually. I like. I do. I have some charactery looks.
I bet you do. My picture of you in a dressing room before you go on is twitching and getting into character and things. Am I right? You
are absolutely correct. I'm guilty as charged. I go through a whole bunch of different facial expressions and so forth, warming up, my face, because that's what really it gives me my delivery, is to see it.
Oh, you got a face for TV. That's lovely.
I don't know. I'm gonna step off. I thought Dean would hammer me on that one, but thank you, Dean.
Are you able to imitate Rhea's beautiful accent?
It's so funny. I'd love to address this and be politically correct. When we do voiceovers, and sometimes you can talk in voiceover that's proper, and then there's times when it doesn't sound very proper. And we got to be careful with that, because when we do any kind of an accent, bring it to a professional level in the studio, and Rhea, I want your input on this as well. You've got to be careful, because if you try to do a voiceover and you imitate somebody's accent and you don't get it down perfectly, it's almost an insult to somebody who speaks properly. So you've got to be really careful with that. So we always try to use real British voiceover, if it's British, or Irish brogue and things like that, because for Christ's sakes, I could talk like this, but there's all kinds of different brogues that meld into it, and people are like, oh, that's not really an Irish accent. So you got to be real careful with that. And Rhea, do you get that? I mean, do you agree with that?
I kind of don't mind, but when I listen to an American try to do an English accent, it's really not very English. And I don't know if... Give us a go, Rob. See if you can fool me.
Give what a go there?
What's your best English? What's your best RP?
I don't really have one. I guess I turned into hello, dear. I turned into Miss Doubtfire. That's what happens to me. I slip and slide when it comes to the brogues and the accents. I slip and slide all over. That's why I have to keep it on the comedy circuit.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Another Robin Williams classic. Yeah. Robin Williams classic.
Yeah. That brogue's a little bit mottled. Right? It's a little mottled.
I think you could do a Mick Jagger.
Oh, Mick. I love Mick Jagger. You got to see me dance. I can do Mick Jagger. That's something to say.
Rob's got the moves like Jagger.
I do.
What a great song.
It's a great song. And listen, take your hat off to Mick Jagger, man. If I can be doing that, what he does at his age, I think he just had another kid, didn't he?
I think so. I
Right?
think he just had another kid.
He's like 70-something years old and he just had another baby. God bless. God
Yeah,
bless.
they're all out there doing it. They're still doing what they did, I don't know how many years ago. They're amazing. And they
Yes.
can still fill stadiums.
And look at that, the British invasion, you still got, the Who still touring. You got, I mean, they do it and they keep doing it.
I mean,
they
Rod
do
Stewart.
it right.
Rod Stewart.
I
keeps
love
doing it.
Rod. I love Rod Stewart,
Rod's got beautiful hair still
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
to this day.
yeah. I wish I had that. My hair's waving. Goodbye.
It's funny.
Ooh.
Rhea, it's all yours. We're gonna get
Sorry,
into
I'm
some.
starting to laugh now.
We're warming you up and we're tickling you a little bit.
You are. You're getting there.
Any
Right,
more material, Rhea?
Yeah, I've got plenty to. Right, here we go. We're going to the next stage of the show. So we're going to take you out the hot seat for just a moment, Rob, but I'm sure you'll have plenty to say. I'll start off with a few ditties about New York, and then we're going to guess the accent from there. So, did you know Madison Square Garden, Washington Park Square, Union Square Park, and Bryant Park used to be cemeteries?
Wow.
It can cost over $289,000 for a 1-year hot dog stand permit in Central Park. And it takes 75,000 trees to print a Sunday edition of the New York Times. And there's a baby born every 4.4 minutes in New York City. And New York City has the largest Puerto Rican population of any city in the world. Okay, guys, we're going to go over to guess the accent. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Just about every video I've made here on YouTube, I've gotten a comments about the way my voice sounds like or the way I talk. I've even gotten comments that I sound like Forrest Gump. Seriously? I sound like Forrest Gump.
What do you think? Open floor.
It's sort of a rednecky Blake Shelton sounding something.
Georgia.
We're off the region.
Georgia?
I think it's Georgia.
Georgia?
Alabama.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Alabama.
Got Georgia, Alabama, and where else?
I think Anthony was in Georgia.
I said Alabama.
You got to pick a state, Rob.
I think Alabama's closest to that accent.
Okay, it is Texas.
Oh, wow. I was gonna say Texas. I was gonna say
All my exes live in Texas.
Yeah, so kind of close-ish, but not what I would expect a Texas
No.
accent.
Yeah,
Right.
but there's different parts of Texas
Yeah.
with different. That was tough, Rhea. Come on.
Yeah.
Right,
Come
so-
on.
Come on, look.
Dallas. There's
Calm
different
yourselves down a second.
That
different
was a
accents
very
with
light.
Dallas
That was a
and
light
Houston.
accent. That was a light accent.
yeah.
I need like, howdy, folks. Welcome to BMW.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Right.
And that clip was about that guy saying that very thing that everybody thinks that a Texan sounds like. Well, that. And he's saying we most certainly don't. So that's that accent thing, Robbie. Kind of got upset that he thinks everybody sounds like you just did. So quite interesting. Right, here's another one. This is just off the UK. Try this one.
All right.
For some weird reason, everyone here speaks a few octaves higher than the rest of the country, boy. It's a little bit forlorn and a little bit melodic, and every now and again, boy is thrown in for the crack. Fair play to you, boy.
I'm gonna take first shot at that. That sounds like where Rhea is from, Milton Keynes.
Oh, wow. How observational.
Whoa.
I think that's Essex.
I think that was always after me Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
This is good. So have we got a place where it's from?
I really have no clue.
It's probably a slang inner city.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's
Because
what I was
she
gonna
tricked us
say.
on the
I
first
think
one.
Anthony, you want to take a stag at a city?
She didn't trick anybody.
I just heard that accent too on a boxing documentary I watched about a British female boxing promoter, and one of her boxers spoke just like that. But she was from Essex, but that can't be an Essex accent because they're very proper from what I saw in Essex. So
Okay.
I don't know where he was from.
Damn, you need to get out the US more.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fly us out.
Right.
We'll do the show
want
with
one
you.
more time? Have you got any regions or what do you got? Dead air.
Dead air.
Manchester.
Manchester. Anthony
Manchester
says.
United.
At least we got a something.
All right.
Come on, Rob, you can do better than that. Tick. Top.
Tick, tick.
I think you got to come up with one from Long Beach, Long Island. Rhea.
Yeah, I need a Long Beach accent to really
You got to
hone
hear.
in on
You
that.
got to hear the sound.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
We've done New Jersey. We've done stuff
We have?
really close
Yeah, but
to
you've
you
got to,
guys.
Rhea, you've got to do one for Rob where you hear the sound of the waves of the ocean.
Yeah,
I can't do it because I don't have a palm tree.
the palm tree accent. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, that's what we want.
So what Anthony said Manchester?
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's not Manchester.
Shot in the dark,
Right.
you know.
God,
I've never
you
been to
scare me,
England.
you guys.
Okay.
It's Ireland.
Ireland.
I said that was the Lucky Charms guy.
Yeah.
He's from
Yeah,
Ireland.
Yeah.
it's the islands.
So I had it right.
Is that American for islands?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody thinks of Lucky Charms, thinks of
That's
Ireland.
completely my fault.
Always have to be
Right,
Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. Where did you think that came from? Germany?
Rhea doesn't cut you any slack.
No, I
she
get
doesn't
it,
give you a
man.
break.
I
She's
get it.
tough.
Yeah.
Very tough.
I like that.
Oh my goodness. Right, okay. Guess the celebrity. Who's this?
What was I like? I was like, just wanted to get on with my life.
That's easy. That's easy.
Rob's
Well,
gonna
don't
Rob,
say it yet, Rob. Who
Rob's
is
gonna
it?
take the
I
first
got it.
shot.
I
Go
got
ahead,
it.
Rob.
It's one of my favorites. Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's Tom Cruise.
Wow.
It was good.
Aside from the Scientology, I think he's awesome.
Rob, our guests always win something when they guess, and you win 2 muffins to the Dean Blechman show.
And I'll take that all day long. What do we got from Johnny? A brand new muffin. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Anthony and Dean, I've got to say, the guests are showing you up on Guess the Accents and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna get out more, buddy. We're gonna do a world tour.
Yes.
Get,
Yeah, that's right. You need to get out more.
All right. How about you guess who is this? Ready?
Go on.
You are very good. You are very you are very good. You are very, very good.
I love that movie. One of my favorites.
Get Rhea. Give us your best.
I have no idea.
You got to get to the United States more.
I want to take a
Well,
shot at
I'm
that. But let Rhea
I
guess
don't-
first, but I want to take a shot at that.
Oh, God.
Could Rob do it? Can you do it one more time, Rob?
You are very, very good. You are very good. You are very, very good. You.
Could I take a shot? Robert De Niro.
You got it.
Woo!
Yeah, man. Get it. Get it.
Robert De Niro, Rhea.
I know, yeah. Okay. Right, on to the sport time. Ready for some sports questions?
Absolutely.
Here we go. Question 1. Baseball initially started in the US, but which country has the largest pro baseball league outside of the US? Come on, sports guys.
Country. That's South America's got to have. Oh no, it'd be the DR because Puerto Rico's part of the
yeah,
U.S.
Dominican
right? So it'd be the Dominican
It's
Republic.
got to be Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico.
I'd go with that.
Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Rhea.
No, I get why you'd say that, but it's not. It's quite unusual, actually. It's Japan.
Japan.
Oh God, I should have thought that.
Damn, that was a bit difficult, that one, wasn't it? Right,
Oh,
question
Japan.
2.
Is that right?
That's 3 I should have had. Wow.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, it's Japan. It is Japan.
It's bigger
Right,
than karate?
Kung Fu. Right, so question 2. Who won baseball's first ever World Series? Come on, Dean.
Yeah, that's you.
I'm out of that.
The New York Yankees.
Boston Red
No.
Sox. What do you think, Ant?
Anthony?
Saying that, you use different
First.
names. Do the New York Yankees have a different name?
Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, I'm not.
I wonder if I'm looking at it and it's written.
It
down.
was either the Yankees or the Red Sox, Rhea.
Or Brooklyn,
Okay,
Dodgers?
so
when they
just
were
Brooklyn
make it
Dodgers. Yeah, back then it was Brooklyn Dodgers, right?
that's what I would guess.
Yep.
Brooklyn Dodgers.
Okay, you got a consensus. No, it was the Boston Americans.
Wow.
Boston Americans.
God.
Any idea of the year? Guess on the year.
1918.
Like, warm.
1920.
Okay, 1903.
Wow.
Wow.
Question 3.
That's interesting.
I think what we're gonna have to do is go down to my mom's home down in Harbor's Edge, down in Delray Beach, Florida. I think we when Rhea does these tests on us, we've got to bring in someone. I know she's got people that are 101, 102 years old that live in our community. I think they'd be helpful on these. This is tough, Rhea.
Yeah, it is
Going
tough.
back.
Very challenging.
This is challenging.
Okay. I didn't write them. We're still trying to get them right. But I thought you'd just nail these, Dean. But hey, there you go.
It's tough.
Right, next one. Name the baseball team that first introduced numbers on the back of their shirts.
Numbers on the back
Oh,
of
the silence.
shirts. Man, oh, Shevitz. The Cubs?
Nope.
It's got to be
Anybody else?
it's got to be the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Nope.
Boston Americans.
Yeah.
Okay, it was the New York Yankees.
It was
Wow,
the Yankees.
you
Yankees?
see?
Really?
See, I was afraid to say Yankees again.
Okay, one more. What are the most innings ever played in baseball?
The longest running innings?
Is that what they're called?
Yeah,
innings?
the
one single game.
in a single game.
In a single game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what she's got to be going towards. I'm going to go with the number of 17 innings.
Whoa, okay.
I'm,
Anybody else?
I'm going with 29 innings.
Really?
Ooh, that was concise. Anthony, shot in the dark.
I was gonna say 16.
Not bad. Dean was the closest. It was 26.
26
Wow,
innings.
wow.
That's a long game, boy.
Pretty close. I almost
Yeah.
nailed that.
Good day to
Okay.
be.
I knew
Good day
it.
to be the beer guy.
I knew it was way up there.
Hey, beer here.
No, I don't know what year that game took place. Rhea, do you have the year?
I do have the year somewhere. Let's have a look. It was 1920.
Wow.
There probably was a lot of beer served.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
man.
these days they shut down beer like the bottom of the sixth, top of the seventh.
Yeah, especially in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium's like going to a rock concert and a baseball team all at the same time.
You must have some good jokes about the baseball, being at a baseball game.
I tell you what, I did. I took a girl. It was an internet date, and I took her. She was. I didn't realize because she showed a picture from the waist up, and she obviously
And
likes.
108.
Yeah, she definitely enjoyed a good hot dog, and when we got there, all the vendors were flipping for our section, so I knew it was going to be a fun game. But I grew up Mets fan, and then a good friend of mine took me to a Yankee game,
Right.
and I was like, well, this is how you should be watching a ball game. All the bars were going completely nuts. I was like, is this the playoffs? She's like, no, this is what a Yankee game is like, man. It's just insane. It's insane. Nothing against the Mets, but I kind of like it's definitely a whole different ball game. I mean,
So that means if you like the Mets, you also like the Jets and the Islanders.
that's what I
Right,
would think.
right.
Yeah, because I like Yankees, Rangers. I'm a New York Rangers fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Isn't that the way it goes though? Right.
Yeah,
Mets,
usually-
Islanders.
Yep. Usually goes that way.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're a Met fan, you're an Islander fan,
Right.
and usually a Jet fan as well.
I'm a Ranger fan because when my brother got me into hockey when I was about 7 years old. He's like, "Oh, Robbie, watch this sport. You're allowed to fight." And I was like, "Oh, really? It's cool." They dropped their gloves, and I started playing ice hockey when I was young. I played hockey for a long time.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Soccer was my biggest thing. I lived and eat and breathed soccer, but hockey was great.
Wow.
And there was no New York Islander team. It was only the Rangers. So once you have the team, I stuck by my team.
Right. Now
I
you
think a
gotta-
lot of Ranger fans like that.
Yeah, now the Islander fans, they got to schlep from going conveniently to the Nassau Coliseum to Brooklyn to the Barclays Center.
Yep.
So back over to Rhea.
Yep.
Okay, here we go, guys, to On the Spot. So this is general New York stuff. And it is, first question, when did the first settlers arrive in New York? Open floor. Talk amongst yourselves. Dead air's bad.
Had to be sometime in the 1600s because I know my town was founded in I think 1696, so they probably got here in 1670, somewhere around there.
I would definitely cheat. Like my social studies class, I'd be cheating with you all the time. I'd be like looking at your paper.
Were you good in history, Rob?
No.
Apparently not.
Do you notice I didn't pay attention in school? She's asking you all these geography questions and
Although
history.
didn't Columbus find when he discovered America? So New York. She's saying New York. So it had to actually be sooner than when they settled it. When they discovered it, Rio, or when they settled it.
When did the first settlers arrive in
Oh,
New
the
York?
first settlers, I believe. Yeah, that was sometime in the 1600s. I think.
You're amongst degenerates, Anthony, so you're on your own by the sounds of it.
Anthony, you really think it was 1600s?
Well, Smithtown was founded in I want to say 1696, or maybe even a little sooner.
I mean, right on this property in Setauket, all the towns we have out here, Poquat, Setauket.
All Indians, right?
I mean, it was all Indians.
I thought
right
it was-
right here on this property.
I thought it was the Fagawi tribe, wasn't it?
I think she's talking about European settlers. When did the settlers arrive? The Indians are indigenous. They were already here.
You're already here. But you know, the tribe that ran it all was the Fagawi tribe. You know that, right?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know the Fagawis?
Yeah, the guy stood up. The chief stood up on the highest mountain and said, "We're Fagawi." You get it?
Oh, yeah.
We're Fagawi.
That's it.
And you don't have to edit that. See, Anthony, I'm working with you, not against you. But getting back to settling, the
Okay,
settlers.
Rob, I'm just writing out your reports.
Oh my God, the settlers. Did they actually settle for optimum? Oh my goodness.
Is that what the best we got? 1690 something? Is that it?
I'm gonna
Let's
have
go. Let's
yeah.
go with 1690.
Okay, it was 1624.
Wow,
Oh,
Anthony!
bro.
Wow,
Smoking a pancake.
I like my history.
Unbelievable,
You do like your
Anthony.
history.
You're pretty good.
Yeah, I love
Wow,
history as
history
Well,
guy.
all you guys got to do is drive down 25A
Right.
and look founded in.
Yeah,
they
that's
have
true.
the years on the.
That's true.
I think we're going to give Anthony another title: history correspondent.
Yeah.
Technical, sound, senior correspondent, and now history.
I don't know about that, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Rocking through the years. I like it. Good stuff.
Okay, here we go for the next one then. What nationality were the first to settle in New York? Not the
Come on.
natives.
That's the Dutch.
I'm gonna have to go.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna have to go with the Italians.
What makes you think it wasn't the Jewish?
Oy. I'll go with that.
Okay, correct. It was the Dutch.
Wow, Anthony!
Man. Lies.
Unbelievable.
Amsterdam.
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 Yeah, the Duke of York, right? Wasn't he from there? That's New York. Was the Duke of York from?
Duke.
You know, you're really smart, Anthony.
You're
a smart
I'm smarter
guy.
than I look. Right?
Is he related to the Rappin' Duke? Do you remember the Rappin' Duke? There's nothing to it the way we do it. Scoobity doo. Guess what, America? We love you.
Before my time.
Rob, did I ever tell you I was never in a retail store? I don't know if you've ever been in one called Guitar Center.
Yeah, of course.
And I went to Guitar Center to buy all this equipment that you see here in the studio. Okay?
Sponsor.
And and Anthony took me to Guitar Center. I paid for it. He took me. Next thing you know, I'm at the counter. And there's no Anthony. He's in the back room playing with guitars.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, that's your playground in there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time I went into a Guitar Center for equipment, all of a sudden I look over my shoulder. There's no sign of Anthony.
He's
in
playing
the back
guitar.
room playing guitars.
I love it.
Huh?
I love it. What kind of guitar do you play?
Well, I mean, when we went there the last time, I was playing a Martin, but I don't have a Martin. I would love to get a Martin. Just basic Yamahas, and nothing special.
The Stratocasters, right?
Well, acoustic as far
Acoustic?
as yeah.
So
as far as type.
maybe we can get Guitar Center to sponsor us for the show.
Absolutely.
I'm stopping there
Great
today.
idea.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like it.
Okay.
We'll get you another guitar, man.
I'd love it.
Rob, what do you think of this team so far on my show that I've assembled? Some pretty unique,
I mean,
a lot of characters,
I like
and a lot of talent.
It's a melting pot. Thanks to Rhea, it's a very smart melting pot. Thanks to Rhea. She's keeping us. She keeps us on track. That's for
We're
sure.
going to go back over to Rhea.
I love it.
Okay, right, next one. How did Manhattan get its name?
Oh, I used to know that.
You used to.
You should know that, Rob.
I know.
That's you should know that.
Yeah, from Game Show. I remember.
You should know
I
that.
think I asked that question once on Family Feud.
How do you forget something like that?
Wait, you were on Family Feud?
No, we do a Family Feud
Oh, I
mock
thought
up.
you were-
We do a mock up of
I
Family
thought
Feud.
you were on
It's the Family Feud. Yeah, Richard Dawson did kiss me.
That was a great show.
Yeah, what a show. But Manhattan, it's escaping me, but there is a good reason. There's a good explanation to that.
Probably maybe it had something to do with one of the tribes that were here.
Oh,
Oh, don't tell me.
You've got it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tribe. The original tribe was called the Manhattan tribe.
Manhattan.
So that's how it got its name, from the original tribe that frequented Manhattan.
You know,
Well
I
done,
said
Anthony.
I wasn't going to use this word that much. Remarkable, Anthony. You're really,
Yeah,
really
man.
remarkable. You really are smart. You're a smart guy.
This is Jeopardy.
I had a 5-hour energy shot before I came here. So I think that's the only reason it's helping me.
You should go on Jeopardy, man.
Yeah,
You got a lot of facts in that.
Wheel of Fortune. I want to do Wheel of Fortune.
The
That one-
wheel.
Fortune.
Yeah.
That one I could do.
What else?
Okay, ready for the last one?
Yes.
Here it comes. This is no, we've got 2 more to go. How big is New York City in square miles?
Square miles. New York City square miles.
Oh, I'm
3,000.
gonna take a shot at that.
Yeah.
3,000
3,000 what? 3,000
Miles?
miles? You gotta be kidding
square
me.
miles.
3,000 square miles. You're gonna be in the.
As you can see, math is not my strong point.
You're
Back
gonna be,
to history.
You're gonna be in the Hudson.
Anthony's like,
I'll take history for 500, please.
All right, drop a 0, 300. Then drop a 0, 300.
You nailed it. Spot on.
it's 300?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Not is he smart? He's lucky. You're
That
like,
was Rob.
going
That
up.
was a lucky guess.
come
that was a
on,
lucky
Rhea.
guess.
Is it really 300?
It's really 300.
I'm not going to tell him he's smart anymore. That
The
was a
next
lucky.
Dean Blechman show is going to be in Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, because Rain Man's coming with us. Guy's smart. He's lucky. He's good looking. He's a musician. Ladies and gentlemen, look him up on Facebook.
He's going to ask for a raise after this
Yeah,
show.
you're not kidding. I love it. Wow, that was great.
It was good. Right. And the last one, nationwide, how many states still use the death penalty? Dun, dun,
I'll
dun,
let
dun.
you guys give this one a
I'm
shot.
going with
'cause
4.
I know this one.
That's kind of you, Anthony.
It's either 40 something still use it
40?
or 40 something abolished it. So it's one of the other. I think it's like 44 that I think that either still use the death penalty or abolish the death penalty. So it'd be the negative of 51, however many states minus 40, 44, something like that.
Wow.
Do they actually, as law, have the death penalty, or are you talking about those that really do executions?
know that the law is still in place. So if you did something, they could just do whatever they do to you and kill you.
My best stab would be about 12 states.
Wow, I was going to go with that.
I'd say about a dozen
I'm
states.
trying to do the whole math thing based on what you said, and it comes to 11 or 12, and I would say 12 if algebra is.
So it's about 12 still could use the death penalty legally. Is that the answer?
I'm going to go with that final answer.
Yeah.
All right, so it's the inverse. So 44
I think,
abolished.
Rob, you're going to have to start to bring this show back up after talking about the death penalty.
Well, it's good to know, you know.
Gonna ride the lightning.
It's 31.
31, not even close.
Wow. Amazing.
And one thing that's really interesting is New York and all around New York don't have it. So you're good to go, guys.
Wow.
Algebra, math, history, algebra. Algebra's a horse. That's the only thing I know. Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. That was actually when I did one of my first auditions ever in the entertainment business. I went into New York City. I waited online for about 2 hours to get into. It was supposed to be a comedy Broadway show. So they wanted dancers, comedians. I saw comedians. I'm like, I'm going to go in, you know. So I was totally unprepared. And when I got online and I saw what the caliber of people that were dancing and singing, and I mean, they were pros. These people are trying to get on a Broadway show, and here I am, totally unprepared. But I got online anyway, and I walked up, and people giving the guy music. You know, there's a table with 12 people and a guy with a piano, and they said, what would you like to do? And I said to the piano guy, this is a true story. I said, do you know the beginning of Mr. Ed? And he started playing the beginning of Mr. Ed. Oh, nobody. And I sang the beginning of Mr. Ed as Mr. Ed. Nobody can talk to a horse, of course, unless, of course, the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. People
that song.
yak and streak and waste their time a day. Right? And I did this whole thing, and I get done. And they go, thank you. And I walked up, and the next guy in line goes, man, that was real. You got some pair on you to do something like that in this room. I was like, all right, have a nice day.
I never missed that show.
Yeah, it was a great. We had such great shows.
Such great shows.
You know, Petticoat Junction.
You're much younger than me, though, so you
climbing up the ranks pretty quick.
Those some really great shows.
I would fake being sick so I could stay home, because when we were sick as kids, we went over to my nana and my pop-ups, God rest their souls, my grandparents, and I would have my pop-ups bed would be all made up, and the TV in the room, and the electric blanket on, and Nana would take care of me the whole day. So it was like I was at the Four Seasons. So I honestly, I faked a lot of times being sick, and I would want to stay home because I could watch all those shows. I Dream of Jeannie, Petticoat Junction, F Troop, right? Remember? I mean, we had such great shows. And Mr. Ed, I mean, come on.
Get Smart. I like
Get Smart.
You know, Rob, you just brought up about faking sick so you could stay home. You know, on a previous show that we did here, I spoke about that.
Did you?
That back in, you were a Met fan, but once again, you're much. I don't know how old you were back in 1969.
Ooh, all right.
And you talk about faking sick. I'll never forget it. Back in 1969. I mean, I grew up. I was such a loyal New York Mets fan. The Miracle Mets in '69, and during those years, the World Series was only played during the day. They never had night games.
Is that right?
Yeah, in '69. So when you talked about your experiences of faking sick, I stayed home for the entire 1969 World. I did everything. I did everything to bring on a fever, fake my illness, do everything possible to get my mom to let me home. I did not want to go to school in the 1969 Miracle Mets. I mean, I talked about how Tom Seaver was my idol.
You skipped that in school.
If Tom Seaver would ever lose, I'd cry. It was that serious,
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's great.
You had mentioned Broadway earlier. How come you never got into theater?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because when I was in school, again going back, I think it was the 7th or 8th grade, you had to take home economics and you had to take a theater class in middle school. For me, middle school was 7th and 8th grade. So when I took theater class, we did all these pantomimes and things like that. And the theater teacher, this woman, Mrs. Beck, I actually remember her name, she came to me and said, you have a lot of, natural abilities to pantomime. And I took 2 chairs. They were like, you have to do something with these 2 chairs. And I put one chair laying on its back and then the other chair with the feet facing me. And I made believe I was in a go-kart. And I went underneath a truck and I lifted my hat up, because it's cartoons. I lived on cartoons. Rhea, I think in pictures. And she said, you got to get into theater. And back then, and I kicked myself in the pants every day, theater wasn't cool. I played soccer.
Right.
They're like, you can't go. You're not a theater person.
Right.
Theater's not cool. You play soccer. It was like that whole ridiculous. And you got to think as kids follow other kids. We got to be the cool kid. All the cool kids do that, right?
You played soccer and be cool. Did you play stickball in front of your house?
I played stickball.
That was a big deal for me. Stickball in Freeport.
But I kick myself in the pants to this day. And anybody out there listening who has kids, get them into theater, man. Get them into the Broadway. Get them into theater. Right. Get them singing, dancing. It's such a great platform for the creatives, really. And I missed it.
Let's bring Rhea back into the conversation. Rhea.
Is stickball the same as baseball?
Little bit. Rhea,
Is that where it starts?
A little bit, yeah. When I was a kid growing up in Freeport, Long Island, Miller Avenue, we used to in front of our garage.
Yeah.
What you needed was a very thin, long bat, much thinner than a baseball bat. Rhea. Broomstick.
Yep.
And I remember, Rob, do you remember the Spalding, the pink, the Spalding
100%
ball that we used?
Yep.
I was so good at stickball.
We take a little electrical tape, so you could grip the broomstick.
Yeah,
that would
awesome.
be you'd have electrical tape,
right?
And then if you didn't get in trouble for riding on the garage, the strike zone.
Right.
So you'd be able to throw the
amazing,
ball.
And then you had other
against
homes.
the garage.
You had your neighbors across the street, and you had to hope you could deal with neighbors that didn't mind when you knocked out their windows.
We had a picture window in Hauppauge that definitely had a lot more baseballs ran through there. Boy, running bases. You remember playing running bases? You'd run back and forth. And I hate to go off track, but it brings to mind that's why when we were kids we did so much physical activity. Where today the kids are just into the the videos, and they got muscles in their thumbs, from moving them back and forth. You talk to somebody, nobody talks anymore. You realize that they text?
Yeah.
It's all texting,
right?
So you wonder why they're bad at interviews because they don't talk.
I'll bring you back for a show with my mother. That's a topic she loves to talk about. What's going on with kids today?
Yeah.
Going back to you, Rhea.
Okay, I've got 4 close of show questions and I'm done here, guys. For you, Rob, what are you passionate about outside of work?
Outside of work, I am passionate about, believe it or not, I love just physical fitness. I'm passionate about I take my run in the morning and I get my head straight, and I get my spirituality when I take, because I'm fortunate and I'm blessed enough to live about 4 houses from the beach. So I take my run in the morning and I get my spirituality and my head in the right direction. And I get my positive vibe in, and if there's waves, I love to go down and paddle out and do a little bit of surfing. It's a passion. I love nature. I really do.
That sounds lovely, actually. It sounds very West Coast more than East Coast.
I know.
Hey.
I told everybody I was switched at birth. They didn't believe me. I'm like, there's a kid right now in California walking around a big mansion going, it's so airy in here. It's so hot. And I'm like, I love it. I love West Coast thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the West Coast very much. And what really winds you up?
Sexually?
If you want to.
Wow, it's an open forum, is it? What winds me up? What makes me excited? I'm just trying to hone in on this.
Winds you up. What makes you cross? Upset?
Oh, makes me upset. Paying taxes. And what makes me upset is just really, there's one thing only. It's when people pass. And I know, listen, I believe, I don't want to get all spiritual on you, but I believe that we're here for a short time. And there's other things that eternity is where we really are going to spend the majority or our whole lives. But good people taken too soon from our lives, because that winds me up. That gets me upset. We've all lost people in our lives that are so talented. We to kind of circle back to the Robin Williams story that Dean mentioned. Just people that give so much and create such happiness and bring so much to the world. For that person to to move on early in life, that winds me up a little bit. I just wish we could be here a little bit longer.
I get that. I didn't mean sad. I meant as in angry. Somebody might.
Angry.
Yeah, do you not use the term wind you up? Obviously not.
No, I don't really use wound up. What makes me angry? That's a good question, because I am pretty much in a good mood every single day. But I'd have to say people. Dean's looking at me too, like, yeah,
that's a tough question.
Long Island traffic.
Long Island
traffic. For the time I've known Rob, I've never met someone with such high energy and always up, and the adrenaline just on fire.
Yeah,
testosterone is just racing.
You're just racing to a blood, man.
Just the adrenaline is just always. I've never met anyone more up than Rob Altmann.
Oh yeah, Rhea, great question. What makes me angry? That I've never really, believe it or not, I never really even thought about that. Very few things make me angry. I guess. Anthony kind of mentioned, traffic and being stuck in traffic. Of course, that makes everybody angry. We have a New York road rage thing out here. That's just, it's unbearable, because people just drive like so bad. I would have to go with bad drivers. People who don't watch what they're doing makes me angry, because I live in a beach town, Rhea, and when I'm home, if we don't have to drive anywhere, we're on our bicycles, we're walking around the town, and people come zipping through. And I just saw people get, hit on a bicycle or something like that. That makes me angry. Wow. Just, people should take their driving courses over again. I think when you hit it should be at 25, 45, or something. You know what I mean? Right. You should take your driver's license test again, because people just don't look left, right, and left again. That's just, nobody does that anymore. Nobody uses blinkers. cutting people off. I think that gets me angry is just bad driving that puts people in harm's way. That makes me angry.
Wow.
I get that. They just need to relax.
If Rhea asks me
what makes you
lately,
angry,
if she said what makes me angry, I'd have to make some comments about
Where are you going with that?
about my friend sitting to my left here.
No way, Anthony. Oh, hey, oh.
Well,
You got to listen to another show. He blamed it on YouTube when a certain show didn't get out there on time.
Dean thinks I have complete control over technology, like I'm the technology god.
He's the guru.
It was 3 a.m. I said, "Get Rhea up then."
Wake him up.
Rhea,
Anthony's a tech expert.
Yeah. Hey, listen, God bless tech experts like this because I know I couldn't make it happen.
yeah, I told Anthony whatever he's got to do. Find the number for the founder of YouTube. Whatever he's got to do.
Make it happen.
Rhea, what else you have for us?
Okay, 2 more questions. Rob, what really makes you laugh?
What really makes me laugh?
Oh, that should be easy.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, it's kind of a tough question, Dean. Actually, it's a little bit tough because doing comedy, I got to watch comics. They really got to kill me, So the legends that we spoke about, that makes me laugh and things like that. But I think what really gets me is people falling down. I know that sounds crazy, but like when somebody obviously, if not, I don't want them to get hurt. But when somebody falls clumsily, is that a word? Clumsily? Is clumsy and falls, like maybe go to sit on a chair and they fall off the chair. As a kid, and again, you go back to being a kid, I'm kind of circling back to when I was in school, good kid, bad kid. We would take the mop and actually, where people walked out of the cafeteria for the hot food line, we would mop the floor. We'd find the custodial mop and mop the floor and make it wet and watch people go upside down and their food landing on them and stuff, meatball heroes hitting them. And we would roll. That made me laugh like uncontrollably. I know.
Rob's a little bit of a sociopath. Laughing at people cracking their heads open on the school
Yeah, I didn't want
cafeteria.
people to get hurt, but I just think.
But if they did,
I like clumsy things. That makes me laugh when people,
Cool.
When people do silly things.
You're a cartoon child.
I really am. I am. It's the Robo Show. Yeah.
And all that. Okay, 1 more to go. What would be your advice for young people leaving school to put their best foot forward?
That's easy. Really follow your passion of what you love, and don't force it. Don't do something that you think somebody thinks you should do. If somebody people are telling you to be a lawyer or a cop or something like that, and that's really not what you want to do. Don't go that route. Do what you feel is best for you. And I know. Speaking personally, it took me a long time to find where I am, to find what I really wanted to do in life. And I jumped around a little bit and did sales here and there and, worked in a deli happily for almost 6 years out of high school and going into college. That made me happy.
Wow.
I liked food. I love food.
Wow.
And I love people.
How long did you work in a deli?
Almost 6 years. Yeah, at a place called Manor Deli where we fill your belly.
I'm sure that helped you with some comedy and some
Absolutely.
some great experiences in that deli.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to we would mimic the people coming in, and because there's always characters, we had a guy called CG, and I had character voices that I made, and I had a cartoonist actually draw the characters. I explained what they look like, and believe it or not, it was amazing. He drew them to a T, and there was a guy called CG. He was a real tall black man that came in, and he'd wear a do-rag on his head. And he was almost like scary looking.
Yeah, this here CG. I'd like to get me a large beer and El Predicto.
And he would say, he sounded just like that. And he would order that every day. So we would mimic them, and the owner would be like,
Hello, love. May I have a half a pound of gabagool?
and that's where I got a lot of the mimicking and the characters. And I was happy, I worked 60 hours or whatever. I put in my time. I work. And I was a hard worker. It goes, in my family, we work really hard when we do stuff. And I was happy. I had
Great.
Food and people. It's great. Constant change.
That's a great answer, Rob. Back to you, Dean. That's me.
Rhea, thank you very much. Appreciate it. As always, terrific. On this note, boy, I'm looking at the time. Rob, I think you're going to win 2 more muffins. I think time has flown. This has been a incredible show.
I love it. I go forever with you guys.
Really great. Could go forever. And as I told the audience, I want to have you back again. That what we'll do is a lot more comedy, a lot more humor, and motivation and inspirational talks. But I want to thank you very much for taking time out from your extremely busy schedule.
My pleasure to be here.
I really appreciate it.
100%.
And once again, if people have not had have had the opportunity to see you yet in person, they've got to do that. I guess the best way to follow your schedule is robertaltman.com.
I would go to thirdwaveevents.com.
Thirdwaveevents.com is the best way to follow you. So, if you haven't seen Rob in person and you haven't had a chance to meet him personally.
We have a schedule for comedy shows on Third Wave Events, which is on Facebook.
Super.
So my next show, September 24th, which is a Saturday night in Long Beach at the Park Sports Bar. It will be posted up there. Come down, dinner and a show. Dino, I'd love to see you.
Absolutely.
Come to the beach house, man.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah.
And let's get together real soon.
Let's
again,
do that.
Okay?
Anthony, you too. Rhea, I'd love for you to be there. You going to fly in anytime
I'd love
soon?
to come now.
You coming anytime soon?
What, East Coast?
Yes. Rob wants to see you out here in New York, in the Big Apple. He wants to see you out here on Long Island, out in Long Beach.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more Long Beach, West Coast, really.
All right, you got me.
Well, listen,
There you
on that note, I want to thank my great dear colleagues and friends here. Anthony, thank you very much again. Great show.
Great show.
Rhea, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime.
And,
It's been lovely to have you on, Rob.
You bet. And as always, when I close, I'd like to want to hear from all our listeners, and listeners can reach out to us with the toll-free text number for U.S. residents, which is 631-372-8849. That's 631-372-8849. We'd love to hear from you. Include your name and location, and we will mention you on the show. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook and to hit the subscribe button on the show's YouTube channel. If you'd like to leave a comment, use the box below. If you'd like to share your story, ideas, and be a guest on the show, go to deanblechman.com and please email me. I would like to thank all my listeners for being with us today. And from all of us at the Dean Blechman Show, have a great day.
You've been listening to the Dean Blechman Show, live from Long Island, New York. From all of us here, we'd like to thank you for tuning in. We look forward to hearing your comments via Facebook, Twitter, Skype, and email. And don't forget, you can visit the webpage anytime for the up-and-coming guest list. From all of us here, have a good evening.